and the omnibus. So I was forced into the Archers when I was a child. And look, it's come back to bite me later on.
I'm awash with the stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavour show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of...
Welcome back to The Deep Dive. This is where we take your sources, articles, notes, whatever you send us, and, well, we dig in. We pull out the key bits, the surprising facts, the stuff that really matters. Think of it as getting the inside track, but hopefully with a bit of fun along the way. Today we're doing something a little bit different, actually. Quite interesting. Our source is an audio clip from The Archers, you know, the BBC Radio 4 drama. It's been running forever. Now I know what you might be thinking. A soap opera? Really? But honestly, this snippet, it's packed with everyday human stuff, challenges, how communities work or don't work, people making decisions under pressure. It's surprisingly rich.
It really is. And our mission today, our deep dive, is to look at how these characters handle things. Not just the big crises, but, you know, the personal worries, the ambitious plans, all happening in this small village setting.
Right.
We want to highlight that mix of, well, chaos and resilience you get in real life. Looking at the small details, the surprising moments, and then thinking about what they mean more broadly.
Yeah, exactly. So get ready for an overwhelmed pub, some unexpected family awkwardness, a village shop getting a pretty controversial makeover, and how the community sort of pulls together or maybe struggles a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this. All right. Chaos at the Bull, a day in the life of a country pub under siege. So we start right in the middle of it at the Bull Pub. And straight away, it's obvious they're massively short-staffed.
Yeah, seriously short.
Yeah.
Palan, who usually works there, is away. The new kitchen person, Tara, she's on jury service.
Right.
And the catering agency just didn't send anyone for 2 weeks.
Wow. So Lillian and Kenton are basically running on empty already. They managed yesterday alone somehow, and now they're facing another crazy busy day.
Exactly. And Lillian even asks, you know, does no one want to work in a country pub anymore? Which feels very relatable right now for a lot of places.
Definitely. And just when you think, okay, staffing's the big problem, it gets worse.
Oh, yeah. While they're juggling being short-staffed, lunch rush looming, Lillian finds out the entire wholesale food order.
Yeah.
It's just missing.
Yeah.
Gone.
Oh, nightmare. So immediate panic stations, right. They need food now, especially for whatever the lunch special was meant to be.
Total panic. And Lillian's worried, you know, will the little village shop even have enough stuff, you know, the quantities they need for pug food?
But then we get a bit of community spirit saving the day.
We do. Joy just immediately steps up, offers to run over there right now to the shop. You can almost hear the relief in Lillian's voice. A real lifeline.
Goodness for Joy. But the chaos isn't quite done with them yet, is it?
Not even close. So they get through the lunch rush. Sounds like it was manic. Then Kenton finds the dishwasher is just foaming everywhere, like uncontrollably.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Turns out he accidentally put floor cleaner in it instead of dishwasher detergent.
Oh, Kenton. Oh, no. That's not just a quick fix, is it?
Not at all. It means everything has to be washed again by hand.
Yeah.
So massive delays, plus the machine's out of action until it's properly cleaned. It's a classic case of one small mistake just spiraling.
Wow, okay. So surely things calm down after that.
You'd think, but no. Then a message comes in from Linda. Apparently, Ambridge has to host the football match next Sunday because the other team's pitch, Frank's pitch, is unusable.
Okay.
And Linda, being Linda, has already promised them tea, you know, catering.
And Lillian's reaction, I can almost guess.
Pretty much what you'd expect. That's impossible. Do you want an ice and a slice? Just completely overwhelmed.
I don't blame her. But then, is it Joy again?
It is. Joy to the rescue, part 2. Even though she said she's out of practice in a kitchen, she offers to lend a hand. She even mentioned she's got her food hygiene certificate still.
Good old Joy. That's crucial though, isn't it? Because they mentioned feeling the pressure to keep up appearances.
Absolutely. There's that line about felons work so hard to win back the job. And remembering how their miniature pies were a massive hit, it shows there are real stakes. Reputation matters, even for, you know, just providing tea for a football match.
So looking at that whole sequence at the staffing, the food, the dishwasher, the football tee, what's the big picture here? What does it tell us?
Well, I think what's really striking about the Bulls' Day is how these seemingly small operational problems can just escalate incredibly quickly into major crises. And it forces them into improvisation mode, doesn't it? but it also really highlights how vital that community support like Joy stepping in becomes. It's not just about fixing the immediate problem, it's about rediscovering how much you rely on people's willingness to just muck in when the systems fail you.
Okay.
Grandparental anxieties and family holiday headaches.
Okay, let's shift from the pub chaos to something perhaps a bit more domestic, but just as tricky. Family dynamics. Kate calls Jacob out for being weird the night before, and he admits it, doesn't he?
He does. He says he was thrown by the idea of being a grandparent, just feeling, overwhelmed by all Kate's plans.
But he has that very specific thing about the name.
Oh, yes. He really, really doesn't want to be called Mofar. He insists on Jacob and Jacob only. It's a small detail, but it says a lot about, personal boundaries and comfort levels, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. Meanwhile, Kate's just full steam ahead, isn't she?
Completely. She's got this detailed list of activities for the baby, which Jacob kind of hears as full-time childcare, even though, as Kate points out, the baby's going to be miles away in Scotland.
Yeah, and she's already setting up a savings account.
Yep, as a demonstration of commitment. Though she has to put it in her own name because the baby isn't born yet, hasn't got a name.
Right, practicalities.
But what's interesting is that Jacob starts to come around a bit. He mentions having a really nice chat with Kate's dad, and that seemed to help him feel better, even quite looking forward to being a grandfather type figure.
So communication helps there, but then there's another layer of family complexity, the big holiday.
Ah, yes, the Piggy Holiday group chat. Kate's annoyed because Jacob hasn't responded. We're talking about a plan for a big, amazing holiday next year for 27 people.
27, okay. And Jacob's staying.
He's like, whoa, hang on. He thought he was added by mistake. He doesn't feel like he's really part of that specific family line, a Peggy descendant, as he puts it. And he basically says, look, I cannot go on holiday with 27 people. Just flat out.
Understandable, maybe. But Kate's having none of it.
No, she insists. But you are family. You're my partner, Jacob. You have to come. You just have to. It's that classic push-pull in relationships, isn't it? Trying to balance individual needs with, family expectations.
Definitely. And Lillian weighs in, too.
She does, offering Kate a bit of perspective. She suggests maybe Peggy herself, the matriarch, would understand that Jacob's just not much of a joiner. It kind of validates his feelings a bit from an outside view.
But Kate's still determined.
Oh, yeah. She even declares herself the ideal person to coordinate everything for this huge trip, taking charge.
Okay, so looking at Jacob and Kate, this whole grandparent thing, the holiday drama, what are the key insights here about navigating these big family moments?
Well, I think their story really captures those clashing expectations you often get in relationships, especially around major life events like becoming grandparents or these big family get-togethers. The core thing really is how vital open communication is. Or maybe the problem's caused by the lack of it. And also respecting personal boundaries. Even when everyone's excited or there's pressure to join in, remembering that people have different comfort zones is just, paramount.
3. The village shop's controversial transformation. A gamble on the high street.
Right, let's switch focus again, this time to the village shop, which has apparently had a bit of a makeover.
A radical one, by the sounds of it. Jim comes back from a trip and is just completely gobsmacked.
What's his reaction?
Just a barrage of questions. What on earth has happened to the shop? When did we start selling wool and fishing nets? Asking about buckets and spades, flip-flops. He's clearly alarmed. Yeah, you can hear the concern. He says the place is chock-a-block, full of stock, and he's worried, how can we afford this? He's worried they'll go bankrupt. It's that fear of change, isn't it?
It absolutely is. That kind of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality, maybe. But Joy and Lillian explain what happened.
What was the reason?
Susan Carter made an executive decision. Apparently, it was seen as an emergency because of the new shop that opened at the electric car charging station. They were worried about losing customers.
Competition. So a preemptive strike.
Sort of, yeah. A gamble to stay relevant. And according to Joy and Lillian, it seems to be working, at least initially. It does seem to be paying off so far. Hardware's popular, flip-flops are selling.
Interesting. But Jim's still skeptical.
Very. Until Lillian connects it back to the Bulls crisis earlier that day.
The missing food order.
Exactly. Lillian basically says to Jim, look, we would have had to cancel lunch at the Ball today without the shop so close by and so well stocked. She gives him concrete proof of its value right now.
And that makes him pause.
It really does. You hear him sort of backtrack. That's interesting. That's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, perhaps I'm starting to. That immediate practical benefit is hard to argue with, isn't it?
Absolutely. It hits home.
Yeah. And Lillian's so grateful she offers Joy and Jim a drink on the house. It's thanks to the shop. Jim initially protests, saying they weren't after freebies. And does Joy still ask for that tequila slammer?
She does, just jokingly, before settling for a sensible tonic water. As a nice touch of humor.
It does. So this whole village shop saga, the sudden change, Jim's reaction, the justification, what does it tell us about, say, small businesses or community resources?
Well, I think it really throws a spotlight on that tension you often see between sticking with tradition and the need to innovate or take risks, especially for small local businesses.
Right, the fear versus the necessity of change.
Yeah.
Precisely. And the key insight here, I think, is how practical, immediate benefits can be incredibly persuasive. They can win over even the biggest skeptics, like Jim. It powerfully demonstrates the real value of having a local resource that can actually meet the community's immediate, sometimes unexpected needs. Outro.
So quite a lot packed into that slice of village life, wasn't there?
Yeah.
We've gone from the sheer panic of running a pub short-staffed
The day-to-day reality.
to the slightly awkward dance of family expectations around babies and big holidays.
Yep, the personal stuff.
And then seeing how a community adapts or reacts to quite a big change in its local shop. It's amazing how much you can pull from what seems like just, well, everyday drama.
It really is. And what's fascinating, I find, is how these different threads, a missing food order, a tricky family chat, a shop changing its stock, they all kind of weave together.
Yeah.
They reveal these deeper patterns, don't they? Patterns of how much communities rely on each other, how people grow personally through challenges. These fictional scenarios really do mirror universal truths about, well, human nature, resourcefulness, and how our individual choices affect everyone else.
Absolutely. It just shows the value, doesn't it, of diving deep into any source, even something that looks simple on the surface. You can find these really rich veins of understanding. So, thinking about all this, what does it mean for you listening in?
Well, here's something to maybe chew on. Think about your own life or your workplace. How often are executive decisions made because something feels like an emergency?
Good question.
And what are the ripple effects? What are the unexpected benefits, maybe? Or the unforeseen challenges that come from those quick decisions down the line? It's definitely something worth considering.
So, what are you doing now?
Just getting ready for the next episode. Just moving mics around.
So, what do you do?
I do the spot effects on the arches.
Are you what we call Foley then?
Kind of. Yep.
Okay. And these are all part of the paraphernalia of production.
Yep, that's the ball bar.
This one.
Yep, that's.
Babies so wanted to be in their own place when their baby came. It's due in 2 months. Not much chance of that now. I mean, it would have been a stretch for him financially, mind, but I just wish there was something practical I could do to help him.
I think The Archers has had this immense popularity over the years, basically because it has always very accurately reflected the reality of life and living in a rural community at whatever